Ryan, I would say, in my opinion, is plausibly the most guilty party of this entire thing.
Ryan Reynolds says Justin Baldoni can't sue him over hurt feelings.
Ryan Reynolds is experiencing a total collapse after being canceled over alleged bullying of Justin Baldoni, and honestly, I never saw it.
That Ryan is actually such a good guy that he kind of had to be a bad.
Between court battles, a tongue-in-cheek poke in Deadpool and Wolverine, and several chaotic claims, it's impossible not to ask whether Ryan's biting would has finally gone too far. Ryan Reynolds versus Justin Baldoni, a clash so dramatic it feels tailor-made for a Hollywood blockbuster. Yet this isn't a standard celebrity disagreement. It's an all-out ego showdown with Blake Lively, Reynolds' wife, standing squarely at the center. And if you believed Hollywood chaos couldn't escalate further, brace yourself, because this storyline delivers twists powerful enough to challenge a Game of Thrones finale.
The key player in the scheme, defaming Justin around Hollywood, strong-arming WME, their agency, into dropping Justin as a client and trying to destroy Justin's career, however.
Hollywood Burn Book is back, louder and juicier than ever. Justin Baldoni has decided that this fight goes both ways, countersuing Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively with claims they're trying to destroy his career. By destroy, that means accusing him of everything from body-shaming Lively to being labeled a full-blown sexual predator. Reynolds allegedly went further, flexing Hollywood influence to push Baldoni out of his agency, WME, escalating the drama into something far uglier quickly.
Reynolds filed a motion to dismiss. He wants to get out of Justin Baldoni's lawsuit in a filing that was riddled with character attacks and claims that he can't sue over.
But wait, it gets even wilder as Reynolds' lawyers fire back with a brutal argument claiming it's only their opinion since the law protects free speech and the right to openly show intense contempt for someone you truly think is complete trash.
Basically, it's fine if I called him a predator if I believe it. It's fine. And the problem is, it's like, okay, so you're admitting then, essentially, that you have called him.
Using his troubled past as justification, the Reynolds camp argues, how can you sue for $400 million when your whole career was built on boasting about being a reformed dirtbag anyway?
As he said, why is he suing them?
It's a daring tactic turning Baldwin's redemption story against him, and if awards existed for pure pettiness, Reynolds would already be carefully polishing his trophy.
Attorney Brian Friedman has given some quotes to the press, and they were pretty scathing. I mean, you gotta admit, the guy goes hard for his client.
Naturally, Baldwin's attorney Brian Friedman came out swinging, accusing Reynolds of bullying and manipulation, then striking a metaphorical match and strolling away like he's Deadpool inside a slow-motion explosion scene.
Here Friedman is quoted in TMZ. Let's look at what he said. Mr. Reynolds' exploitation of his enormous power in Hollywood continues, this time arrogantly asking to be dismissed from the case despite his publicly documented involvement, extending far beyond just being a supportive spouse.
Friedman claims Reynolds' fingerprints are everywhere in this alleged smear campaign, making him seem like a Hollywood puppet master yanking strings to ruin Baldwin's career. And as if matters weren't chaotic enough, Baldoni has now targeted the New York Times and Leslie Sloan, publicist for Lively and Reynolds. Yes, he's pulling everyone into this chaos. At this stage, it feels less like litigation and more like a full-on Hollywood war, missing only a dramatic Netflix series to explain everything for audiences craving scandal, spectacle, context, commentary, closure globally.
Freeman says Reynolds trying to skate is laughable because his fingerprints have been all over the smear campaign against Justin and the Wayfarer team since day one.
Now, the image Friedman paints somehow shows Reynolds casually sipping his own aviation gin while scheming inside a secret lair lined with Marvel merch and plotting Baldwin's collapse. Really, the same guy who spends most of his time joking online and hyping his businesses is suddenly the villain in Baldwin's tale. It's so absurdly dramatic it almost plays like satire, but no, this is real and growing messier with every minute now today.
He adds, after lighting a match, Mr. Reynolds now seeks to run from the flames. It won't work.
Friedman didn't hold back, claiming Reynolds ignited the entire feud and then dashed away like a Hollywood action hero escaping a CGI explosion. He argued Reynolds is dodging accountability at every step, more concerned with preserving his charming public image than confronting the alleged damage. According to Friedman, this isn't merely hurt feelings. It's a full-blown campaign to tarnish Baldwin's reputation, one that Reynolds now tries to dismiss as harmless joking.
Says Reynolds trying to skate is laughable because his fingerprints have been all over the smear campaign against Justin and the Wayfarer team since...
In Friedman's view, Reynolds isn't confronting the flames. He's fanning them while acting untouchable. The lawyer made it clear that no amount of sarcastic legal filings or Marvel-level charm can undo the alleged harm. If Friedman has his way, Reynolds won't walk away from this scandal unscathed. Now, consider what's at stake. Ryan Reynolds, the king of snark, the man who built an empire on razor-sharp wit and a devil-may-care attitude. His Deadpool franchise stands as a near shrine to his brand of irreverence, bold humor, and calculated chaos.
First of all, I want men to stop asking the question, why do women stay?
Yeah.
Right? I want men to take accountability. I want men to hold other men accountable.
Then there's Justin Baldoni, the self-styled woke feminist, a filmmaker who's built a niche directing socially conscious projects like It Ends With Us. On paper, they couldn't be more different. One's cracking jokes about chimichangas, the other giving TED Talks on masculinity. And yet, here we are, witnessing them clash in one of the strangest Hollywood feuds of our era.
As we reported, Ryan filed the dismissal docs Tuesday, calling Justin thin-skinned for complaining that so-called Nicepool character from Deadpool and Wolverine was mocking him.
So how did this all begin? It started when Reynolds introduced a character named Nice in Deadpool and Wolverine, a painfully obvious caricature of Baldoni.
And they say, well, even doing that, he's just thin-skinned for complaining about it.
Now, Reynolds' legal team has all but admitted that Baldoni inspired Nice in Deadpool, but their defense? Baldoni is simply too sensitive, thin-skinned outrage, they called it. It's basically saying someone's too fragile to handle your genius. Bold move, Reynolds.
It wasn't just the so-called. He confirms. They say they don't dispute that the character was based off of Justin Baldoni. It was essentially Justin Baldoni. And so Ryan Reynolds admits this.
But let's be honest. When your satire singles out a real person, it stops being art and starts looking a lot like bullying. Reynolds, of course, brushes this off completely. After all, he's Deadpool. Nothing is off limits in the name of comedy, right?
Reynolds, who is married to Blake Lively, was accused in the lawsuit of mocking and bullying Baldoni by using the character of Nicepool in Deadpool and Wolverine to satirize Baldoni's woke feminist image.
And then there's the whole Nice fiasco. Picture watching one of the year's biggest movies and realizing a character is unmistakably based on you, but in a way that isn't flattering. That's exactly what happened to Baldoni when Reynolds created Nice, a parody that mocked his woke feminist image. This wasn't a light joke. It was a full-on roast, turning Baldoni's carefully curated public persona into a punchline for millions. For Baldoni, this went beyond comedy. It felt like a personal attack. He's built his brand as a role model for modern masculinity, and now he was being ridiculed on a global stage. To him, Nice wasn't satire. It was humiliation, prompting him to fight back with a lawsuit, claiming Reynolds crossed the line from humor into harassment.
Hell broke loose. She claims he sexual harassed her, and then by the time they premiered the movie, they weren't even speaking to each other. She made him stay in the basement, and Ryan Reynolds turned on him too. And then she claimed that he unleashed a bad PR campaign against her.
Let's take a moment to focus on Lively. As Reynolds' wife and Baldoni's co-star, she's right in the thick of this chaos, and she's not holding back. Her claims against Baldoni go beyond mere inappropriate behavior. They dig much deeper.
He's brought the suit, and he's got to defend himself. And there's some very serious allegations being made against him and Wayfarer for harassment.
She's alleged that he orchestrated a smear campaign against her, using his publicists to circulate damaging rumors after the film's release. If true, it's a calculated move that casts Baldoni in a starkly different light than the progressive feminist image he promotes. But here's the twist. Reynolds' defense of Lively doesn't feel entirely selfless. Sure, he's backing his wife, as any husband would, but in doing so, he's also strengthening his own case against Baldoni. Two birds with one stone. so to speak.
Ryan, who had called this shot, that it was very obvious now that we know his brand of narcissism. I feel like we all deserve like PhDs in psychology by the end of this.
Now, the public is forced to pick sides, and let's be real, it's no easy decision. On one hand, there's Reynolds, the snarky anti-hero who's built a career roasting everyone and everything. On the other, there's Baldoni, the sincere feminist now facing massive accusations of hypocrisy. And then there's Lively, whose claims have added a whole new layer of complexity to this already tangled feud.
100% Ryan was the one who put this line in here. Not SNL, not Tina Fey, not Blake Lively, but Ryan.
Is Reynolds the villain, wielding his platform to bully a fellow actor under the cover of comedy? Or is Baldoni the one hiding behind a meticulously crafted image, now revealed as the aggressor?
From a 2017 article as the opening to everything.
Now we reach the real fireworks of this Hollywood saga. The moment Blake Lively leveled accusations against Justin Baldoni like a shocking third-act twist in a thriller. Thought this was only about a parody character in a superhero flick? Think again. Lively's explosive claims escalated the feud from a slow burn to a full-on rolling boil, and the fallout has been absolutely spectacular.
Negative press swirled around her during this whole, like a month, right? Later, she would describe this as though it was the pile-on against Trump. Honestly, it's like most of us, especially in Republican politics or the news, this is called Tuesday.
Here's the tea. Blake Lively, queen of glam and sarcasm, accused Baldoni of sexual harassment on the set of It Ends With Us. Yes, the same Baldoni who brands himself a feminist champion. According to Lively, his behavior wasn't just inappropriate, it was outright predatory. And if that wasn't enough to send Hollywood's rumor mill spinning, she added another spicy layer. Baldoni allegedly used his PR team to tarnish her reputation after the film's release. That's right. He didn't just harass her. He allegedly exposed her to public scrutiny as well.
Reynolds' exploitation of his enormous power in Hollywood continues. This time, arrogantly asking to be dismissed from the case despite his publicly documented involvement, extending far beyond just being a supportive spouse.
Here's the tea. Blake Lively, queen of glam and sarcasm, accused Baldoni of sexual harassment on the set of It Ends With Us. Yes, the same Baldoni who brands himself a feminist champion. According to Lively, his behavior wasn't just inappropriate, it was outright predatory. And if that wasn't enough to send Hollywood's rumor mill spinning, she added another spicy layer. Baldoni allegedly used his PR team to tarnish her reputation after the film's release. That's right. He didn't just harass her. He allegedly exposed her to public scrutiny as well.
Power couple Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds and actor and director Justin Baldoni. The plot of this lawsuit is actually more interesting, I believe, than the film that they made.
But wait, this is Hollywood, where nothing is ever straightforward. The timing of Lively's accusations has raised plenty of eyebrows. Why now? Why immediately after Baldoni filed his lawsuit against Reynolds? Is this a calculated counterattack meant to damage Baldoni's credibility? Or is it Lively finally deciding she's had enough? The waters are murky, and everyone's got a theory. Some see it as classic tit for tat. Others believe it's a long-suppressed grievance finally surfacing.
Ryan, I would say, in my opinion, is plausibly the most guilty party of this entire thing, okay? He has just been publicly humiliating Justin Baldoni.
And then there's Nicepool, the character that started this whole circus. If Deadpool is the king of savage humor, Nicepool is his overly earnest, painfully woke little brother, a not-so-subtle caricature of Justin Baldoni. Reynolds' legal team hasn't even tried to deny it. In fact, they've basically admitted Baldoni inspired Nice, but their defense? Baldoni's just overreacting, thin-skinned outrage, they called it.
Publicly humiliating Justin Baldoni as soon as he could, as many times as he could, and using as many A-list actors as he could.
Here's the thing. Satire is meant to punch up, right? But when a Hollywood A-lister uses a multi-million-dollar platform to mock another industry peer, is it really punching up, or just plain mean-spirited? Reynolds might call it artistic freedom, but critics are labeling it a weaponized platform. And they're not wrong. When your art singles someone out so directly, it stops being comedy and starts looking like a full-on attack.
Why the character is successful, it's actually him. And what better way to become successful than really just playing yourself?
What's even more revealing is the language Reynolds' team used in their motion to dismiss Baldoni's lawsuit. Thin-skinned outrage. That's not just a legal argument, it's a complete dismissal of Baldoni's feelings. But isn't that the classic defense of every bully ever? It's just a joke. Sure, it might seem funny if you're not the one being mocked in front of millions.
You creating this character in this Disney Marvel superhero movie where you mock him, threaten him, tease him, make fun of him, and then ultimately kill him?
And let's not overlook the power dynamics here. Reynolds is Deadpool, a cultural juggernaut, while Baldoni, though successful, doesn't have the same clout. Mocking him in a blockbuster feels less like playful teasing and more like a heavyweight swinging at a featherweight. Ironically, the feud has only shown a bigger spotlight on both men. Baldoni's lawsuit and Lively's allegations have turned what could have been a forgettable parody into a full-blown controversy. And Reynolds, who thrives on chaos, seems more than happy to play the villain in this story.
It's just a joke. You don't get it? You're thin-skinned if you're upset about it. That is how insane this is.
Ryan Reynolds didn't just stroll into court with a legal motion. He arrived wielding a verbal flamethrower. Let's unpack it. In his attempt to squash Justin Baldoni's claims, Reynolds dismissed them as nothing more than hurt feelings. That's not just a legal point. It's a mic drop served with a generous side of shade.
And they are serious. Mr. Reynolds can appear on as many sketch shows as he wants and feebly try to make light of his current situation. But we will not stop until he is held accountable for his act.
Reynolds' team went all in, leaning heavily on free speech. They argued that calling someone a predator, or, turning their entire personality into a satirical caricature in a blockbuster, is totally protected under the First Amendment. While they didn't outright deny that Nicepool was a dig at Baldoni, they brushed it off as harmless fun. But that fun has now put Reynolds' reputation, and maybe even his career, at risk. And the real battlefield isn't the courtroom, it's the internet. The court of public opinion is where the verdict truly matters, and things aren't looking great for Reynolds. Fans are rallying behind Baldoni, calling Reynolds out for his actions both on and off screen. Turns out, even Deadpool can't snark his way out of everything.
Like, it was very aggressive, I agree, and I can't fault somebody for wanting to stick up for their partner, but there were parts of it as I was reading it, I couldn't help but feel like it was a bit petty.
The biggest question looming over this chaos is whether Reynolds' fierce defense of his wife, Blake Lively, is helping or hurting his own image. On one hand, it's admirable. Who wouldn't stand up for their partner? But on the other, in the Me Too era, weaponizing satire against someone like Baldoni, who brands himself a feminist ally, feels risky. And let's be honest, the internet thrives on receipts. Clips of Reynolds making eyebrow-raising comments in past interviews have been circulating, adding fuel to the fire. Meanwhile, Baldoni's carefully curated image as a reformed man gives him some leverage. But public opinion is a fickle beast. One misstep from Baldoni, or one perfectly timed tweet from Reynolds, and the tide could shift faster than you can say Nicepool. Things get even messier considering both men have built careers preaching certain values, only to be caught in one of the pettiest Hollywood feuds in recent memory. Reynolds has been loud and clear, accusing Baldoni of hiding behind a woke feminist facade, essentially calling out performative activism. That sting might land harder coming from someone whose career thrives on brutal honesty. But does that give Reynolds a free pass to satirize Baldoni so directly? Probably not.
Hell broke loose. She claims he sexual harassed her, and then by the time they premiered the movie, they weren't even speaking to each other. She made him stay in the basement, and Ryan Reynolds turned on him too. And then she claimed that he unleashed a bad PR campaign.
And what about Blake Lively's role in all of this? Is she simply an innocent victim standing up against harassment, or a savvy power player timing her allegations to strengthen her husband's case? Depending on who you ask, she's either the heroine of this saga or its most calculated participant. But the bigger picture is what this feud reveals about Hollywood itself. Reynolds and Baldoni might be battling for their reputations, But in doing so, they're exposing the very hypocrisies they claim to despise. This isn't just a story about two actors at odds. It's a spotlight on Hollywood's ongoing struggles with bullying, accountability, and the messy overlap of art and personal vendettas. And let's be honest, we're all here for the drama. Pass the popcorn. Looking ahead, what's next for Ryan Reynolds, Justin Baldoni, and this never-ending Hollywood soap opera? The immediate focus is Reynolds' motion to dismiss Baldoni's lawsuit, a high-stakes game of which ego will crack first. So there you have it, a Hollywood feud messier than a bad rom-com script. Hit like and subscribe so you don't miss a single twist of this drama.